no holiday, no, no holiday, no, no holiday, no, no holiday, no, no holiday, no.
Welcome to the Mountain Maidu language class. This is Lesson 1 Pronunciation. My name's Karen Anderson. Today we'll learn how to read and pronounce the Maidu sounds in the fishhead alphabet. Even though I will pronounce and show you how to make the sounds, nothing's better than hearing a native speaker of Maidu actually saying the words and the sounds. We do have these old recordings from the 50s. Some of them are damaged or staticky and hard to hear, but we're going to use the tapes as much as we can so you can hear a native speaker, not just me saying the sounds. Letters of the alphabet are divided into vowels and consonants. In English, the vowels are A, E, I, O, and U, and all the other letters are consonants. And in Maidu, also, the vowels are A, E, I, O, and U, even though they're pronounced a little different from English. And there's an extra vowel, represented by the fish head. So we're going to learn how to say all these sounds, and later, after the vowels, we're going to go to the consonants. So please repeat after me. Ah. Eh. I. O. U. A. I. O. U. While we're talking about vowels, I might as well mention the accent you sometimes see over a vowel in a word. This is called a stress mark. You say that part of the word louder than the rest of the word. Listen to Mame Gallagher pronounce Nick Opayatam, my late grandfather. Notice how the vowel O with the stress mark over it sounds louder than the rest of the word.
Nick Opayatam.
This time when we go through the vowels, I'll show you my mouth so you can see how I pronounce it. Please repeat after me. Then I'll play a recording of a native speaker saying the vowel in a word. The native speaker is usually Mame Gallagher unless otherwise shown. You'll be repeating after her too. Let's start with the letter A. The letter A in Maidu is always pronounced ah, as in father, never another way. So let's pronounce it. Ah, ah, ah. That's it. Now let's listen to Mame Gallagher pronounce the letter A in some words.
Ba. Ba. Paka. Paka.
The letter E in Maidu is pronounced as in get. Your mouth is almost smiling when you say this sound. So repeat. Eh. Now, listen to Mame Gallagher say the letter E in some words, and please repeat after her.
Wepa. Wepa. Yeah. Yeah.
The letter I in Maidu sounds usually like I, as in sit. So, repeat after me, please. I. Now listen to Mame Gallagher pronounce the I sound in some words, and please repeat after her.
Tititpe. Tititpe. Tibim. Tibim. İnyanam. İnyanam.
The letter I can also sound like E, as in pizza, especially at the end of a word. Please repeat after me. E, E. Listen to Mame Gallagher say the word hini, I. You'll hear both types of the letter I in this word, which also means I and E. Hini.
Hini. Hini.
When a word ends in I, it's usually pronounced E, as I mentioned. Listen to what happens when you add an M on the end of the word after that E. This E sound changes to I.
Pani. Panim.
Both pani and panim mean tobacco. If somebody asks you the word for tobacco in Maidu, it's okay to say either pani or panim. The M on the end of a word is optional when you're just saying the word by itself, but when we get to sentences, it is important which times you put the M at the end because it changes the meaning of the words. But when you're just saying a word by itself, you can either leave the M off or you can put the M on. Pani or panim means the same thing, tobacco. The letter O is a lot like the English O, as in the word go. The problem is in English, sometimes we change our mouths during that sound. We'll say go, go, and see how my mouth is getting smaller. In Maidu, just leave your mouth in the same position, like go, go. So repeat, please. O, O, O. Sounds a little different from English. Now let's listen to Mame Gallagher and repeat after her.
Bono. Bono. Boto. Boto.
The letter U in Maidu always sounds like U, as in futon. In English, our U often sounds like U, as in universe, or like in uncle. But in Maidu, it's always U, just U, not you. So please repeat. U, U, U. Now let's listen to Mame Gallagher use the letter U in her words.
Guyi. Guyi. Juyi. Juyi.
Now for the hard vowel, the fish head. This one we don't have in English, so it's going to take a little more work. What you're going to do is make an oo sound, but your lips are not going to be like oo. Your lips are going to be spread out, like almost like an S sound, or further down. Farrell Yatam used to call it the crooked mouth sound. There's maybe one side of your mouth is down. So while we're saying ooh, we're going to start moving our mouth. Ooh, ooh, ooh. So when you make that sound, it's almost like you're saying yuck, ugh, ugh. You really feel it back here in your throat. Ugh. So try to repeat after me. Ugh, ugh, ugh. Now let's listen to Mame Gallagher say it in some words, and please repeat after her.
Bumi. Bumi. Bumuku. Bumuku. Hebo. Hebo. Dekum. Dekum. Sapa. Sapa. Tuli. Tuli. Sitti. Sitti.
When you listen to recordings of native speakers saying the fish head sound, sometimes it sounds like they're saying eh, and sometimes it sounds like they're saying ooh, besides the sound. But that's because the fish head character really combines both the eh on the lips end and the oo on the throat end, so that it is a combination of two sounds. And that's why sometimes it can sound like an oo or an eh, besides sounding like an So now let's look at combined vowels. When you have two vowels together, how do you pronounce them? Well, you pronounce both of them, but they sound like one vowel. So, for example, A plus I. You see A and I together. You're going to say ah for the A, and you're going to say E or I for the I. So it's I. It's just like our long I in English. So it's not a new sound or anything, but when you see A and I together, you're going to say I. So please repeat, I, for AI. Now let's listen to Mame Gallagher pronounce A plus I in some words.
like a tape, pie,
Now, what if you combine the letters E plus I? You're going to say the E sound, which you remember is eh, E, a, a. It's like the EI in neighbor. A, it sounds like a long A, so it's not a new sound again. So please repeat. A. That's EI together. So now let's listen to Mame Gallagher say the letters E and I together. Now, what about O plus I? O-E, O-E, oi. Just like in English, O and I in noise. It's the same sound, so it's not a new sound. O-E. So please repeat. Oi, oi, oi. Now let's listen to Mame Gallagher pronounce O plus I.
Hoyam Koredi.
Now we're going to talk about U plus I. The sounds oo plus E. Ooey, ooey, ooey. That's like the U and I in pursuing. Ooing, ooey. So please repeat. Ooey, ooey, ooey. Now let's listen to Mame Gallagher pronounce U plus I.
Tuidom.
Now what about fish head plus I? E, ooey. So please repeat. Ooey, ooey. Now listen to Mame Gallagher pronounce fish head plus I.
Sarmsi.
So now we've talked about vowels, let's talk about consonants. Remember, consonants are any letters that are not vowels. So anything that's not A, E, I, O, U, or fish head is a consonant. Now, most of the consonants in Maidu are like English, but we will talk about the ones that are not like English in this lesson. We'll start with the letter B. In Maidu, the letter B is sometimes imploded, meaning air goes into your mouth instead of out while you're pronouncing it. Like B. To make this imploded sound, suck air into your mouth while you're saying B plus fish head, B. It's not that easy. Now, Shipley thought all the B's in Maidu were imploded, but Dixon thought the B's were only imploded in front of a fish head. So, repeat after me, and then we'll listen to some native speakers. B. Now, listen to these words and see if you hear the B being imploded or not. And you can decide for yourself.
Bemuk. Bumuk. Bummi. Bummi. Mam chipper. Mam chipper. Bottor. Bottor. Her ball. Her ball.
The letter D is also sometimes imploded like B, meaning the air is going into your mouth instead of out. Once again, Shipley thought all the D's in Maidu were imploded, where Dixon thought only before a fish head was it imploded. So let's try it. Duh, duh, duh. Not easy. So keep trying that one out. Try to suck the air into your mouth, at least when you say D in front of a fish head. Now let's listen to 3 different native speakers say the word Maidu or Maidum, meaning man or person, and see if you can hear the imploded D.
Maidu. Maidu.
Maidu. Maidu.
Maidu. Maidu.
Now about D in front of other vowels besides fish head, listen to these native speakers pronouncing D in front of various other vowels and see if you hear it as an imploded D or just a regular D like in English.
Uepada. Uepada. Dadaka. Dadaka. Sedem. Sedem. Mude. Mude. Kadike. Kadike. Pidusi. Pidusi.
Maidu has both special versions and regular versions of K, P, and T. These special versions are called glottalized, K, P, and T, or you could just call them the special K, P, and T. They have a little extra spit to them, as we'll see. They are marked with a little diacritic mark above the letter, which is just looks like an accent mark, and that tells you that these consonants are pronounced a little differently. So in Maidu, starting with the special K, Maidu has 2 Ks, a regular K like English, and it has this special or glottalized K that has the little mark above it. The special K is pronounced farther back in your throat, like a hard G. Maidu doesn't have a G, so it's sort of like a G sound, G, but with a little extra spit. So, ga, ga, ga. Notice how I put a little extra spit out, ga. Please repeat, ga, ga, ga. It almost sounds like a G. Now, let's listen to Mame Gallagher say words that have this special K in them. And you'll see it written on the screen. Just notice the accent mark or diacritic mark that's over the K.
Gawi. Gawim. Hasasaka. Hasasaka. Koyo. Koyo. Hasasaka de min kikoroide. Hasasaka de min kikoroide.
Here are some words that have both kinds of Ks in them. The first K in each of these words is a regular K like in English, and the second K is that special or glottalized K. Can you hear the difference?
Kaikas. Kaikas. Kakan. Kakan.
Kakos. Kakos.
Likewise, there are 2 P's in Maidu, a regular P like in English and a special or glottalized P, which has a diacritic mark that's over the top of the letter. The special or glottalized P has a little extra puff of air and almost sounds like a B. So, repeat after me. B, B, B. Now let's listen to Mame Gallagher pronounce this sound.
Pube. Pube. Nikia P. Nikia P. Pidusi. Pidusi.
And there are two T's in Maidu, a regular T like English and a glottalized or special T written with a diacritic mark over it that has a little extra puff of air and almost sounds like a D. So, try to repeat after me. Da, da, da. The word te-to-te, which means children, has both kinds of T's. The first T is a regular T like English, te, meaning child. Te, which also means nest, is a plural in Maidu for some words. So, listen to the native speaker say te, and see if you can hear the difference between the first T and the last two T's, which are glottalized.
Terutu. Terutu.
Tetutum. Tetutum.
Wemtikas. Wemtikas.
Now we'll talk about the CH. The CH in Maidu is not exactly like the English CH. It's got a little more spit to it, and it's somewhat like a TS sound, like in tsunami or ritzy. In fact, Dixon wrote it as TS. Some speakers seem to be saying a J sound like ja, but it has a little more spit than any of those. So, za, za. Please repeat. Za, za, za. Not easy again. You come pretty close if you say CH. That's why we write it CH. But if you really want to do it right, listen to these native speakers saying the letters that we write as CH.
Ja. Ja. Silom. Silom. Chuyi. Chuyi. Bitchi. Bitchi. Saijoko. Saijoko.
Now, we'll talk about the glottal stop. I talked about the glottal stop a bit in the introduction, and it is that pause between two sounds where there's a little catch in the back of your throat. But like between uh-oh, when you say uh-oh, you completely close off the back of your mouth between those two sounds, and that's the glottal stop. And in Maidu, we represent that with an apostrophe. When somebody's speaking fast, you really can hardly hear this pause, but it's good to know about, and let's listen to some native speakers saying words with the glottal stop.
Kapim. Kapim.
Poesto. Poesto. Solusan. Solusan.
I wanted to just mention the Maidu S. The Maidu S is a little different from English, especially with the older speakers. It sounds a little like an SH sound, shh, except in English when we make an SH sound, we close our teeth more, and in Maidu it's made a little differently. It's almost like a little whistle with the lips a little more rounded, and I think using the tongue to make this sound. So, let's try it. Shu, shu, shu. So, it's a little between an S and an SH. Sometimes it sounds like you're hearing an SH though. especially again with the older speakers. So it's always written as S though, even if it's pronounced more like an SH. Let's listen to some native speakers, including some older ones, and see if you hear any difference.
Sape. Sape.
Bishopdom, bishopdom.
Sasaka. Hesasaka.
Now we talked about when two vowels come together, how to pronounce them. And there's one case where when two consonants come together, you have to know how to pronounce them, and that is M plus K. Now, it doesn't matter whether it's the regular K or the glottalized K. When M comes before K, the M changes sound to an ng sound. Like in song. So, we're going to talk about first when this happens inside a word. Now, the only difference is how it's spelled. When it's inside a word, we spell it with an NK instead of the MK. Then in a minute, we'll talk about when it's two separate words and one word ends with M and the next word starts with K. But right now, talking about within a word, we have, for example, the ending onkano, which is a very common ending meaning you did or you are. This was actually plus kano. And in fact, Shipley wrote it with the M, kano, but it's never pronounced kano. It's always pronounced onkano. So we don't spell it in our newer dictionary. We don't spell it with the M. So just to get this sound with M plus K, let's practice, and please repeat after me. Ong, ong, ong. Okay, like in song. Okay, so now let's look at and listen to a speaker saying onkano, so you could just see how that is within a word.
Me ankano. Me ankano.
Now, what's a little hard to remember is that the same thing happens when the M and the K are in two separate words. So the first word ends with an M and the next word starts with a K. You still have to blend these two words together with the ng sound. The confusing thing about this is that we do keep the M spelling on the first word. So, listen to the native speakers pronounce these words with the M at the end of one word and the K starting the next word, and see if you can hear the ng sound.
Epinim koyo. Epinim koyo.
Happening koyode. Happening koyode.
Momi modong kakas. Momi modong kakas.
Willem klem. Willem klem. Uningodo. Uningodo.
Listening to recordings, you can hear that when a person's speaking slowly, sometimes they do still say the M, as you'll hear in the next recording. So don't worry too much if you forget to change that M to the ng sound before a K. Chances are you're going to be speaking Maidu slowly for a while.
Innum coyote. Innum coyote.
So that brings us to the end of Lesson 1, Pronunciation. We've covered a lot today. Please don't be intimidated by all these pronunciation details. You're not going to be able to get it all at once. It's just good to be aware of the details of how to pronounce each sound, even if you don't make those sounds perfectly. Now, you can watch this video a few times if you want to try to get the sounds down a little better. Also, in the next lesson, we're going to practice some more. So just don't be intimidated, and we'll see you next time.